And JD, you've been listening for the last half hour. I can't put my finger on it.
Oh, my goodness.
It just feels like Guru's trying to, I don't know, like have it both ways or weasel or something's not right. I can't put my finger
Jay,
on it.
Before you answer, let me just set it up. Well, he's been listening. I'm telling Steiny, if somehow the Kings sit their guys, to me the message is we'd rather play the Warriors than Lakers. Now, I'll never have proof, but to my core, I'll feel that way watching the game with you tonight if somehow Harrison Barnes is the only starter available.
Yeah, look, I think there's a couple of different things. I think it could just be gamesmanship, like I know you guys talked about earlier. It could be, absolutely, Mike Brown, hey, we want the Warriors, or think that the Warriors are a better matchup for them than other teams. I think the Clippers are potentially a factor in that as well, though I think the Clippers are probably the best matchup for the Kings from Sacramento's point of view. But, I also think it could just be, Mike Brown saying, hey, if we got nothing to play for, meaning Memphis wins, and they are officially eliminated from being able to get the 2. Now, they're not going to get the 2 anyway, but if it comes down like they're going to be officially eliminated, the Warriors' way in this whole thing has been during their runs, hey, we're only worried about ourselves. We're a damn good team. We're going to do what's best for us, and what's best for the Kings may be to not risk any of their guys that they're going to need in the playoff series getting injured. I think that could be something, as well, is that, if those games truly are like the Kings, to me, guys, owe the Warriors nothing tonight. The Kings owe them nothing. In fact, I think you could almost make the case from the Kings' point of view, why not just make this a zero upside game for the Warriors? Like a game
How would you
have
do that?
to win. Well, by resting your 7 of your top 8 rotation guys.
Gotcha.
You make it a zero upside. You basically tell the Warriors, hey, we know you need it. You're probably going to get it, but if you do get it, you're going to take nothing from tonight into a matchup against us because we didn't play our guys. If we keep it close, it's a confidence builder for the Kings. That you can hang with them, even play in the back half of your roster. And it also, I think, it does get back to maybe not letting the Warriors get a look at the Kings. Before the Kings. The Warriors could figure some stuff out about the Kings by seeing them full throttle tonight that maybe help them a week from now or a week and a half from now. So I think all of those things are fair, but I don't think it's conscious. I don't think it's conscious the Warriors or the Kings, rather, saying they don't want to face the Lakers necessarily either.
Jay, let me ask you this. You're at your own doctor's office. I set up an appointment. I'm on your couch, and I'm telling you to help me get the definition of what I'm feeling in regard to Andrew Wiggins. I've been on this show. I've said they need Wiggins. They need him back. And what Dub Nation got that, Jay. But now that he's not playing these last 3 games, Jay, there's a part of me that is it's bigger than curious. It's almost a good nervous to see what Andrew we're going to get back, because it's going to be game 1 of a playoff series when he makes his debut. Doc, do I sound crazy for thinking that way?
I don't think Andrew Wiggins on his own coming back hurts the Warriors. Like, I don't think his play necessarily hurts the Warriors, because he can like defensively be there, even if offensively he's not there. But offensively, maybe him not taking as many shots would not impact the flow of everything else that the Warriors are going on. But defensively, they need him, regardless of the matchup, because defensively, he's the guy that's guarding De'Aaron Fox, but he's also the guy that's guarding Kevin Durant or Kawhi or Morant, right? So whether it's the 2 little point guards you might play or the 2 wings you could potentially play, that Wiggins is the guy that would be the primary defender on both of them. So from a defensive standpoint, they need him locked in, but they also can't have him be taking a lot of shots, which typically he doesn't if he's struggling, but taking a lot of shots and missing those shots. So I think, to me, like, I'm less worried about Wiggins coming back as it relates to his game or the starters, or the core guys. To me, it's more a question of how does his return impact the bench players that are going to get fewer minutes because he's getting some of Kuminga's minutes. And he's getting some of DiVincenzo's minutes. And I know guys, like we've talked a little bit about this at different points. DiVincenzo has needed to play a lot to be effective. He's needed 25 to 30 minutes a game to be effective. He's been at his best when guys have been out, and he knows he's going to play more. Kuminga has been at his best, and it's been up and down, but the better games he's had have been when he knows he's getting his 25 and not 10. And so he's probably going to get closer to 10, or he's going to get one shift in the first half. And if it doesn't go well, he might not get a shift in the second half. And so I think it makes it harder for a guy like Kuminga to perform. He's got to put his game, the quality aspects of his game, the cutting, the defense, the corner threes if he's left wide open, all the things that are done for him by making the right play in the context of the Warriors offense, plus the hustle and plus the defense. He's got to do it efficiently and in a small box, knowing that if he doesn't play well, he's probably done for the night. And so that makes it harder for him. So to me, it's how do the Warriors balance that and who their 8-9. I mean, you know who the 8-9 are, but are the couple of guys at the back end of the 8-9 getting enough run to where they're comfortable enough being effective, or can they make the adjustment and have less be more? Can they still be as productive as they've been? Again, DiVincenzo and Kuminga specifically, when they're playing less.
John Dickinson joining us on 95.7 The Game. Hey, JD, you put an interesting scenario up on Twitter earlier, and JD and I did our podcast earlier. You can download that on the from the Odyssey app. But you said, wouldn't it be the NBA thing ever? We're in a play-in situation. Supposedly everybody's fighting for position. Tell us what could happen on Sunday.
Yeah, well, you could basically have the biggest game of the year for the Warriors is tonight, right? And you could have the Kings, best interest for them, sit guys out, right? And then you could get to a point where, let's say the Pelicans lose one game tonight. Warriors win. So the Kings basically gift the Warriors tonight.
Yep.
The Pelicans lose one of their last two, either tonight to the Knicks or Sunday to Minnesota. But let's just say the Pelicans lose tonight, because that's what would set it all up. The Clippers, at that point, could choose whether they want to be fifth or sixth. They could win to be fifth. They could lose to be sixth and push the Warriors at that point, assuming the Warriors beat Portland, into the fifth spot and Phoenix. So have all this faux drama, all this fake drama created by the play-in tournament that the NBA is, trying to pretend like it's so great after a lukewarm, blah regular season where everybody was mediocre, all these teams that should have been good or mid, Warriors included. And now you could have the Clippers basically losing on the last day of the season because they feel that the better seed is the better matchup for them. I mean, that's the most NBA in 2023 thing ever.
No, Jay, it is, and I can't wait to see how this plays out. Now, listen, you got Sac ties. I don't know if there's not a reporter that's covered both these teams, Sac and the Warriors collectively, like you have. Be honest with us, Jay. How much, if any, of you is excited about the possible idea of the matchup between the Kings and Warriors? Because I'm sending you texts every day. You know me. I'm trying to wish it into existence. Where are you at? If it doesn't happen, are you like, okay?
I mean, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. I mean, what's meant to be will be, right? But I'm looking forward to it if it does happen. I think it'd be a lot of fun. Right. The one thing I will say, get the drip ready. I don't do this a lot, but get the drip ready. The one thing I will say is I don't think there's a media member going that's watched every Warrior game this year and every Kings game this year. Wow, I'll say I'm one of one in that category. I will say that. And there's going to be a lot of people that are going to pretend if this thing happens. Be a lot of people in both markets that are going to pretend they know the Warriors, they know the Kings, whatever. There's one guy that actually does. All right, drip. That's enough of that. Steiny's probably tuned out by now.
Yo, Bob Rye on YouTube said JD the GOAT.
All right, well then, okay.
But
how much of a shot do you give the Kings?
Yeah.
I'll say I give them a hell of a lot more of a shot than I would have given them a month ago or 2 months ago. I'll say this: 2 months ago, because of the way they've played down the stretch, the way that they came out of the All-Star break, like I thought around the All-Star break when they were 7-8 games over 500, I thought they were a complete concoction of some favorable circumstances plus the mediocre league that was, all these underachieving teams beneath them. They never lost really a bad loss. They had maybe 2 or 3 truly bad losses for the entire season. Like I thought they were a concoction of nobody plays any defense. They've been pretty good in close games. Hadn't lost an overtime game until this week. Had won a bunch of 1-point games without losing any 1-point game. Like I thought they were a little bit inflated, but coming out of the break, they did. They hit the Clippers a couple times, and they've played at a different level. And I think they took it up a notch to where they're pushing to win 50 games. And so, I would have looked at a series between the Warriors and Kings with Wiggins playing. And Wiggins is the other part of this too. And I know he's going to be back, but with Wiggins playing, I would have said a month and a half, 2 months ago, I bet the Warriors win that series in 5. Even with the Kings having home court advantage, I would say I bet the Warriors win that series in 5. Now, I think it's almost certainly a 7-game series. Because I'll say this about the Kings and the style: they don't defend a lick.
Right.
But here's the thing: you're talking about a historically great offensive team in the Kings. They're going to have the best offensive rating in the last 49 years in the NBA of any team this season. Tops in the last 49 years. The Warriors have been a terrible defensive team that's hoping that they're going to be able to be a much better defensive team day one, round one of the playoffs. They might be able to do it, but I think it's going to be a little bit more challenging than they think to just do it and flip the switch on that front. And here's the other part to it, guys. The 2 things you can't do against the Kings if you're the Warriors are take bad shots and turn the ball over. If you think you're going to run up and down and cast off from 3, you better be hitting them. Because if you're not hitting them, they might hit you with a 45-point quarter. Like I've said this to a few people, and I'm kind of saying this in jest, and I hope it doesn't come off as hyperbole, but there has been times this year where I've looked at the Kings on the one hand and thought, you know what, this is a complete fluke. Like the year they're having is a total fluke. There's other times where I've looked at the Kings this year and watching them play, and I've thought, you know what? They kind of remind me a little bit of the Warriors in 2013. And that, they are a handful for a bunch of and remember, the Warriors got a lot of that when they were on the come of jump shooting team, offense, kind of a joke. And so I'm not saying the Kings are going to go on and win titles and all that, but I've always kept in the back of my mind, fellas, that you know what? Let's let them go prove who they are, who they aren't. Let's not just because they've been the Kings for the last decade and a half automatically assume that they're going to be the most negative version of themselves, if that makes sense.
It does. Jay, let me ask you this. I could ask you a million questions. I've been telling Steiny, the Lakers, I feel like they got what it takes to do some damage in the playoffs from a height perspective, from a star perspective, from the other's perspective. Talk to me about that, and can you also tell me if you're concerned about Middleton MRI, because he exited the game the other night, and I'm like, man, this Milwaukee would get some bad luck a couple years in a row if somehow, he's hampered.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not worried about it per se. I mean, it sounds like he's going to be okay. It sounds like they avoided the catastrophic part of that. If he's out, I mean, that flips. I mean, I think Boston becomes a favorite if he's out. They might become the favorite if he's even a little bit hampered in having to play. But I think the Bucks are the favorite in the East. And the other part was the Lakers. Like, this is a different Laker team. Like, it's just a different team. Like, they
good or
traded
bad,
a bunch
Jay?
of guys. Oh, good.
Okay.
Oh, for sure. Good. Absolutely good. That other team stunk. The first version of the Lakers this year would be 13th in the West, 12th or 13th in the West. They'd be done. They'd be down there with Dallas, battling for the first spot out of the play-in. They'd be in that. They'd be in the play-in, trying to figure out who's going to avoid. But no, they're much better now with LeBron and AD and Vanderbilt. I like a lot, and some of the guys. I even like Russell, believe it or not, for them.
Yeah, I do too.
Now, so no, they're a tough matchup. I think for anybody. I think we'll see what happens. I know they don't necessarily control their own destiny anymore because they got beat by the Clippers, but I think they went from having no chance to maybe having a chance to win a couple of rounds.
JD, it's going to be a lot of fun tonight.
I'll see you soon,
Have
buddy.
fun with the goo.
Yeah.
Keep him in check.
Yeah, and by the way, 6:00 for Warriors Live from Golden One Center.
Yeah, we said it.
I'll have Warriors wrap up after the Warriors -9.5. So that tells you where.
Wow.
Somebody just texted me 9.5. Like, is it really 9? I saw 5.5.
Well, Vegas must be thinking
Goo.
nobody's going to play from Sac, but that could change.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Like that, but a lot of times Vegas knows.
Yes, no, you're
a lot
right.
Of times
Wow.
So
Wow.
that's all I'm
Man.
saying. Keep checking that injury report,
No
fellas.
doubt about it. See you
All right,
soon,
JD.
man.
Have a good time up there
All right.
tonight.
See you guys.